I am Captain Todd Jones, Virginia Beach, Virginia Police Department, and I'm the project manager for our body camera program for our agency. We recently selected our vendor, so we did an entire process through the RFP. We tested and evaluated several vendors, and we made a selection recently. So now we are working with that vendor to ensure that all of our buildings have the proper infrastructure and hardware, software, those kind of things, so that when we acquire the equipment, we can have a suitable place for docking, uploading, and things like that. So our next big step, really, once the infrastructure upgrades are completed, is we will acquire the equipment, train our folks, and deploy the cameras. So benefits, this is a technological advancement. We see it as keeping up with trends across the country, and certainly in our region, in Southeast Virginia. All of our neighboring agencies have cameras and have had success stories with them, so we wanted to get in on that aspect of it, and we wanted to include this technology for our citizens, for the transparency piece, and for the accountability piece. So we see that as the benefit, and then some of the challenges we have going forward. We've said 100 times, we don't know what we don't know yet. So even though we have resources like this available to us, and we have agencies that we've reached out to, until we physically start this process and implement these cameras, we're going to wrestle with some of the same issues. I would say the next big issue going forward is the education piece, and that's internally and externally. So internally, we've got to get our folks on board as to the whys, why we're doing this, how this is a benefit, how this will help us as an agency and help them as an officer. And then externally, we've got to get all the other stakeholders involved, which we have, our prosecutors, the courts, the jails, the hospitals, anybody and everybody who might be impacted by us now wearing cameras every day. We've got to get them educated. And then the public in general, who may have very lofty expectations of what these cameras do, maybe they'll learn that they're not the be-all, fix-all for every problem between police and citizens, relationships, things like that. So getting that piece out there, that's going to be our next challenge, if you will. And so we've actually taken a very slow, methodical approach to this. So we're easily 4 years into what we consider the research piece, the discovery piece, just trying to figure out what exactly we're trying to get into without diving in and making a multi-million-dollar mistake, or trying to fix a bigger problem than the ones that we're trying to fix by implementing cameras. So for several years, we were figuring a lot of things out, and I told people every time we answered a question, we'd have 3 or 4 more. So when does that cycle end? And by reaching out to agencies who had cameras, we could share with their success, and we could learn from their challenges along the way. So we weren't in a big hurry to implement the cameras, but we did want to take our time and make sure we had a viable product that we could use at the end of the day. The best thing that's happened for us is by linking up with BJA, coming to a conference like this, networking, and being able to see various agencies along the way, and maybe we can help somebody that is just getting started, and there are certainly agencies who are far more advanced than we are that we can reach out to. Right now, we're getting ready to train eventually about 500 people, and then eventually our entire agency of over 800 people in what exactly the body cameras are, how to use them, how to manage the evidence, how to better use this information in court specifically. So going forward, we're looking at those first steps of implementation, going from a training environment to the real world environment, and actually having real live video now that we've got to manage, assess, prepare for court, and things like that. So we're kind of on the tail end of what we need to do before we turn the cameras on.